Welcome to the DMF. I am your host, Justin Yachts, and today is part two of my interview with Robert Enriquez. He is a manager, director, writer, producer, and a casting director as well. Enjoy. So is that the same with directing? Did you just kind of come to it intuitively as well?
Yeah, same thing.
That's
Just
cool.
I did a lot of photography early on, and I love
Mm,
that. I love telling stories through images, and that's back to the Cash for Gold short. Like you said, I love watching people, and I just love
yeah,
watching the thought process and seeing it. And to me, when I get the opportunity with a lot of the things I've made, it's weird because you usually say, okay, each page accounts for a minute. When I
yeah,
usually shoot something, it's almost double because I do a lot
yeah,
visually, and I like to sit there a lot, and I like to let the actors do what comes natural to them in that life of the character that they're playing. So it's so to me, it's that taking away of the fourth wall. I just love watching people and watching what they're going to do and watch how they think and how they listen and all that stuff.
yeah.
To me, it's fun. I catch myself a lot on airplanes watching movies, and I realize I don't even have the earbuds in. I'm just watching it because I always think that's a
Yeah.
good exercise. If you can tell the story without even knowing what the dialogue is just cream on top of that. So it's
Yeah.
fun to be able
Yeah,
to
no, it's
tell the
true.
story. Yeah.
When
So
you
yeah.
when you can see, when you can tell what the story is just from looking at the
Right.
images. I
Mhm.
mean, that's I mean, you'll see a lot of directors who use, almost mirror images of like a painting or something
Yeah.
and bring it
Right.
in there. And it's sometimes can be obtrusive, but
Yeah.
it's an interesting,
Right.
it's an interesting dynamic. But that's what I liked about Cash for Gold is it just, you just kind of are like, it's like you're like a little fly on the wall
Right.
watching this. You're not cutting to this massive wide shot to show us, the creativity of the thing. It
Yeah.
felt, it just, and
Very intimate.
we don't know, we get what he's doing with the money, but we don't get is you're not over explaining it. Does he feel bad? Does he feel pity? Does he have, so there's all these interesting questions going through my head as I'm watching. It's like, okay, what is he doing there? I mean, is he in the same position as that? And I like that you didn't over explain it.
Yeah.
It's ambiguous in a way. And that I think that's one of the things that like really works about it is it just flows, you know.
Cool. You make me want to watch the short again. I haven't seen it in a while.
You should watch it again. I mean, I was like blown away. I was like automatic. I was like, oh wow, this like just sucked me in. Because I mean, I have to watch a lot of stuff for this, and some stuff will suck you in, and then there's some where it's like, oh wow, that's I forgot everything I had to do today.
Yeah.
I
Right. That's
forgot I'm
funny.
supposed to critique this. So yeah. So now let's moving back to Red Baron Management. So we've seen this. You started producing. You went into the talent. You went into and now you're management. Red Baron Management. How'd that name come about?
It was kind of we needed to set up a corporation as I started the
Mm,
management company. And it's like, I was always weird about putting my name on things. I'm like, I didn't want to do that. But then I'm like,
yeah.
okay, how do I think of something? I couldn't come up with anything that I thought made sense. And then
Mm,
I thought back to the first film I made. It was around that same time, just a little after. I just remember in that film, there was a point where this dog died, and the dog's name was Red Baron. So I thought, oh, let me just create Red Baron Films, and then Red Baron Films transferred over to Red Baron Management later. But it was basically just the name of the dog that died. I thought, okay, that's a good start point. Maybe this name will
yeah.
last, maybe it won't. This Red Snoopy one, which
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's like their dog was named after that dog. And then I remember as a kid, I loved Snoopy as the Red Baron flying around on his dog house and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
stuck and, never came up with anything else. And or over 20 years later, same name.
All right. So talk a little bit about what Red Baron Management does for actors.
We we started off initially, It's very similar to agents, just finding work, going through the breakdowns, pitching, all that. We still do that. And I have
Mm.
some younger people that I'm starting to develop again, which is interesting because a lot of my clients I've had for many years. So it's, they came on as 18, now they're mid 30s, they're turning 40, they're getting up there.
Yeah.
And just a few months back, I realized as I'm looking through all these breakdowns, like I don't have a single client who's between 18 and 30. I have some
Yeah.
people who can play younger than that, but then there's so many opportunities that I have to start looking again.
Yeah.
So I started looking again and brought on a few clients. But yeah, it's just the management it's developing some, finding them work. When they get to a certain point, you build the team even more. They may already have an agent at that point, they might not. Maybe agents start
Yeah.
coming. We start interviewing with them. And then once they get on a show, then we um, put together like their legal team, bring on an attorney, a publicist. So
Mm.
what I do a lot of that time is just managing the team, managing the material, going
Yeah.
through it and saying, is this tying into the brand we're trying to create here? And
Yeah.
financially, sometimes that might not be the best for me personally, but I look at this as the long term. I want to do what's best for the client. They're going to be happy. They're going to be prosperous. And then we'll have a longer career that way. And I think it's worked out nicely by doing
And I
it that
think that's one of the the best ways to look
yeah,
to differentiate between a manager and an agent. An agent is really looking more short
right,
term. A
right.
manager should be looking more long term.
Yeah, I think so.
And I like that you said that. It's like you're looking at the long term vision of where do we want to be,
Right,
as opposed to just, well, this is great, it's here, but it's like, does it connect to what we're doing?
right.
This, yeah, you'll
For
get a bunch of
sure.
people and be like, oh, we got to do this, and no, do this, and it's like that. But you got to have that long term vision. I mean, Oliver Stone talked about that when he's directing. He said, I've got to, through all the chaos, it's still my job to maintain, to still tell my story,
Right.
because you can very easily just get lost and, oh, that's okay, we'll change that, and then, you look at it and be like, this isn't even my movie anymore.
Right. Yep.
What am I doing? Like, I think he said on Wall Street that Martin Sheen, wanted to change lines. He's like, no, you got to say it. You got to say
Yeah.
the lines as is.
Right.
You can't keep changing that. So I think that's a great way to look at a manager, is somebody that's, looking at the long term. How do you, we've touched on this, but how do you find your actors?
Um, Workshops is how I started initially, and then as the
Mm.
company grew, I think, and well, technology grew, it's like you can find people online. I study, films that get released or something that I watch a lot of the times. Then I'll go through the IMDb. Oh, who's this person? Who are they rep by? And do I
Right.
know their agent? If they have a manager, I don't go after people like that. It's usually I
Yeah.
find people that don't have one. They have an agent that I know, and they don't have one, and I'll reach out. Now there's a thing in the breakdowns, which I think is really fascinating, where they send us a link. I don't know exactly. It's just on breakdowns, and it shows you all the people who are looking,
Mm.
and it'll say they're looking for commercials or theatrical or manager, and then I can look through. If I find someone interesting, I'll reach out,
Interesting.
ask them a question or two. But that's a good way to do it now. And then also when I have clients working on set, it gives me a good opportunity to go find people who might be already working or might already have a partial team. So I've found people that way as well.
How do you like to stay in contact with your talent?
It's nowadays there's so many options. It's like
Yeah.
sometimes someone told me something, I got to remember, where do I find that? Did they text me on Instagram, Facebook, text? Did they email me? You're looking through all these different
Yeah,
sources
it's like,
trying to
which one,
find,
which one is it?
where's that
I
link
know
they
that.
sent me? Oh, it's WhatsApp. Okay. Another option. So it's like
Yeah.
it's different for all of the different clients.
Yeah,
Um,
it's hard to
it,
manage all of it.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, the WhatsApp. Is it a
Yeah, there's
text? Is it a
so many.
WhatsApp? Is it this? It's like,
Right. And then you can text or you can talk and send a voice recording.
yeah.
There's so many, but
Or you could have a dream and then you'll be like, did so
right.
and so say that? And then you're like, wait,
Then you have
no,
to go look through all
that's
those things.
that's a dream. That's a dream.
Oh, the dream. Not going to find it anywhere.
That is not real. Did not happen.
Right.
You already answered this, but you seem to enjoy developing talent.
I do. It's it's fun to have that growth and be on that journey. Two of my, Deborah is definitely one of my clients early on, and
Yeah.
just to see all the things from acting to writing to directing and just be part of that. Other clients I have, it's been fun to see where it's like, maybe they're a kid, don't even drive. I'm
Yeah.
driving into to auditions, whatever, to, you know, talking to them about the house they just bought. It's like, it's so fun to be on that whole journey, or having a client
Yeah.
who, starts off as a teenager, years later, they've got two kids. And you're talking about
Yeah.
kids stuff and just being part of that growth and being a little piece of what their life has become is just, it's fun to do that. Um,
Yeah. I saw you worked with one of your clients is Amber Stephen West,
yeah.
who I remember seeing in 22 Jump Street.
Mm.
I thought she was really good in that. What kind of training do you think actors should have?
To me, the only should that I think is priority number
Mm.
one is improv. I think
I know you're going
improv
to say
is,
that.
I think that's so important. I think, and not
Yeah.
just in comedy and drama, just being to be loose like that, and to be forced to listen, because you have to listen. If you're not listening in improv,
Yeah.
you're going to
It's
sink.
dead.
So
It's dead.
it makes it live. It makes, I think it adds to where the dialogue has more flexibility, and then also just what they call the white part of the page, the listening aspect, and what's
Yeah.
going on between the words. I think that's a good one. And then above and beyond that, even people who are very timid and whatnot, I think the improv gets you to a place of comfort, because once you get that level of
Yeah.
confidence, then that translates whether you're auditioning or when you're filming, because a lot of actors, they think, oh, I can do this because I can memorize the
Yeah.
line. You don't realize once you get on set and there's 150 people standing around, you have to have a certain level of confidence to be able to deliver and deliver naturally. And I think,
Yeah.
to me, improv is right up there with doing nudity. Once you can do one of those two, you can do just
Yeah.
about anything, because you have to have a certain comfort level and a certain confidence that comes from that.
I've done both.
At the same time.
Why do you think though improv is kind of seen as this like back thing? Like it seems like in this country, especially, scene study is king, and then everything else is secondary. But it seems to me, from all my research and everybody I talk to, it's improv, but it doesn't seem like the actor knows that yet. That
Yeah, I think a lot of
improv
the time,
is
I think the improv gets pushed back because people think of it solely as comedy. And it's the same thing with the prestige, like with the Oscars. You don't see Jim Carrey getting nominated for doing Dumb and Dumber when what he did in that film was brilliant. Or
yeah,
the Austin Powers guy. I mean, that's like some of the stuff he
yeah,
did is insanely
yeah. I mean,
incredible.
Dumb and Dumber is, like it's a buddy comedy, but it's also about friendship,
Mhm.
and it's done in a really interesting way. But yeah, you're right. The labels kind of get in between it.
It doesn't have the same prestige as a going to a Stanislavski class. So it's very
An actor
important.
prepares.
Right.
But I love that you said that. It's like, okay, but okay, yeah, you can prepare. It's that famous story about the guy who gets online, the gun shoots off, he says the wrong line. And it's like, all he did was practice all day long. But it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, now you got to be able to, something's going to be going to throw you. It could be
Yeah.
too cold in the room. It could be too this. And you got to
And
just go with it. And that's why, improv
in the
will
moment.
help with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you approach casting because you've done that as well?
Yeah. The casting used to actually be a pretty solid business for me early on when I was
Mm,
starting the management, because I shared a space with a production company and I knew how to do casting. So I was doing tons of promos and commercials. So it was a great experience to see what people do, just an ongoing journey of education and learning. That's one of the best things you can do
yeah,
as an actor, is get into a casting and see, like, oh, that's why people responded, or look how that person controlled the
yeah,
material versus, someone coming in and reading and not looking down, just all these things that you can do wrong. So it's fun to
yeah,
see that without the pressure on you. So I did a lot of casting of commercials and promos early on. And then usually when I do casting now, it's just on my films to save money. And I'll put someone in
Yeah.
that position and have them go through the breakdowns and the submissions. But we've also done a few on other people's projects too, where it's just word of mouth. You need a casting director? Okay. I have a casting
Yeah.
associate here, and we have the breakdowns and we can do all of that stuff. And that was a while ago. I don't really do that anymore. Now I usually just bring in a separate person.
Yeah.
It's fun though, because I
I
like
saw
to
you're
see everybody.
friends with. Yeah, no, it's great because you get to, I mean, that's one of the things about COVID is now, it's self-tape. So
Yep.
you don't, I talked to a casting director. She told me about, they hired somebody and then they ended up, they brought him to set and he froze. And
Yep.
it's like,
Oh
if
gosh.
if he's in the room, yeah, she's like, I'll
Yeah.
call her and like, you got to fire him. And it was a big role, but it's like, that could happen,
It does
because
happen.
you're not,
A different
putting them
world.
through the test. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it's kind of sad for him. It's just like, dude,
yeah.
that's your that's your chance.
Right.
You could don't unfreeze. It's like this doesn't happen every day. I saw you you do a lot of work with ARC, the Association of the Recovery of Children. Talk a little bit about that.
When did that start? That was probably like 10 years ago. I there was something that happened with children that I'd read about in the news, and I had a young daughter at the time. And I'm like, I'm
Mm,
always wanting to do what I can with the tools that I have, that if I can help someone else, which to me it was being in Hollywood and having certain access. So someone had reached out to me about trafficking of children. And at the time, I
mm,
wasn't that knowledgeable about what it was and how much of it was happening. And I started doing research, and I kept seeing these videos pop up of this guy named Boz, who I knew. And I knew
mm,
him personally. I didn't know what he was doing. So apparently we hadn't seen each other in a good number of years, but I'm finding out all these videos of him where he's talking about going on these missions and saving these kids. And I'm like, this is a dude that I know. And I didn't even know he does
mm,
this. Like, he's going into Southeast Asia or South America or Mexico and like going on these missions with other former CIA agents and Marine Corps recon soldiers and things like that. I was like, wow, okay. So I didn't know what he was doing. So I learned that he was doing that, and like, he's at the top of his game. Let me reach out to Boz. So I reached out to him, and we grabbed a coffee, and he was telling me about what he did, because like I said, I didn't know he was doing that. I just knew him socially. He said, well, why go work with this other organization? You can just work with us. So I had started working with him and just trying to find people to donate money to these missions, because it takes money to get these jets
yeah.
and put these teams together and just do all of these different types of research. So I started doing that and trying to make videos for him and little documentary little pieces that we could get out there to spread the word. So that's how I started working with him. And then I got more involved to where certain cases would come in and I would read them and try to tell him which ones I think he should put as priority and things like that. It was fun to try to dig into this and do something positive. It wasn't fun in what was happening. It was pretty awful, a lot of the stuff I had
Yeah.
learned about. But it was nice to
Yeah.
be part of that team, as little as I was
Yeah.
doing, it was something. So it was nice to see that he was making a positive impact on that. And it's gotten me into other organizations to where I've been able to help a little bit here and there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I got started with that, and it's been a good number of years now. Not as active with them anymore, but
Mm.
he's probably, he's getting a bit older now, so it's probably slowing down a little bit as well.
Do you want to talk about, do you have any future projects you'd like to talk about, or is everything got to be confidential?
No, it's let's see, we got I'm doing a little action adventure project this summer, just as a producer, but the director
Mm,
will be the editor that did Escape to the Cove for me, and he also did Adventure Harbor. So I'm hoping to help him get his
mm,
first feature off the ground. We just got our commitments on financing, so we'll be shooting that in July, as long as we're all cool with strike stuff. And then, speaking
yeah.
of long time, the script that my intern found, I think it was in 2008, maybe 2009. And we've had it set up with different people over the years, and we finally got to where it's going to get financed, and we're going to shoot that in December. That's a small town murder mystery, and we're going to shoot that in Arizona. So I'm very excited about that one. So those are the two little indies we have coming up, and just a lot of good stuff. One of my clients, Alan Maldonado, is a fantastic actor, but also a writer, and he has created with his team a show called Get Buckets, which was sold to Netflix first, and then now it came back to us, and we were able to get it sold to Fox. So they've put a few scripts in the pipeline over there, and now we're just waiting to see what happens, because we can't do anything now. We can't even hopefully greenlit again once all this craziness goes away. So that's one that I'm super excited about. It's such a fun project for him, and another great guy who, like I was saying, he just turned 40, and we've been working together since he was in his teens. And now
wow. So you've seen him like grow up.
Yeah, it's been great. Been through a lot of ups and downs, but I love that guy. That's another project.
Now, are all these projects on hold until the strike is over?
That the TV one's on hold. The films are not on hold because writers are non-union, and they're already completed as well, so it could go anyway.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's all. That's all going forward for this year. We'll see. Hopefully everything gets worked out.
Where do you see the future of Red Baron management and yourself in general?
I think the future to me would be a lot more of the same. I want to keep the same roster, build on it a little bit. And then keep making projects, just keep making films, keep doing the management, all the same. It's something where it's like a lot of people are like, oh, when I retire, like I don't ever want to retire. I want to keep doing this.
I know.
I think it'll keep the brain sharp. It'll keep a lot of things going. And it's not like something that it doesn't require a lot of physical endurance. It's not like that. So as I get older, it's almost like I'm getting more and more opportunities. So I want to take advantage of all of them and keep doing them, and hopefully keep making a positive influence on people. And even, as a father, it's like, is this something my daughter's going to want to go into? And if so, she's going to be in a much better position than I was when I started, not having any connections, all these connections. If she wants to do that, that'll be great. And if not, then that'll be great too. But it's just fun that it's something that I feel like I can do for many more years to come. So, and answer your question, keep doing the same thing is my goal.
I love it. I love it. I mean, it's like, when you have something that you love, when you retire, what are you going to do? And just going to sit around and waste the time. I mean, unless you've got something that you want to do after that, I mean, then I can see retirement. But, sometimes I imagine people's idea of retirement. It's just like, that sounds like that's going to be boring.
What am I going to do? Just play shuffleboard all day? I mean, maybe. And I'll end up writing a comedy about it and sell it to Will Ferrell playing shuffleboard.
There you go. Shuffleboard.
Yeah, can't turn the creative juices off.
Or no, you watching Netflix, the movie.
I think Will Ferrell playing shuffleboard would be hilarious.
It'd be funny.
He makes himself older to infiltrate a retirement community. They catch on to him.
Like, we're starting a shuffleboard league, everyone. I need people in there. He tries to make himself look old. You don't look old. I have that syndrome. Do you have a beginning of the day routine?
My beginning of the day routine is, hate to admit this, you get on that phone immediately.
The phone.
You have to get on the phone, which is probably not the best thing to do. But I like to see if there's any fires or anything exciting going out there, because I shoot out a lot of emails. So you never know when something's going to come back. Is this production company from New York? Did they hit me back early or whatever? So it's always that. Get the coffee. But I still have a pretty small child. So the mornings are kind of dictated by her, getting her to school. So that's a nice thing to get you going. Makes you get up and get moving. And then from there, I usually like to get some sort of working out in. I think that's a good way to get the brain pumping, getting some kind of workout.
What's your workout of choice?
My workout of choice when I can is volleyball. I love playing beach volleyball.
Really?
the camaraderie
Oh,
too. But I also enjoy weightlifting quite a bit as we age, make sure that
that's
strong enough to keep injuries away.
there's nothing like lifting weights. It's the best thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you have a
That and this,
nighttime? Oh, sorry.
no, there's just that, and it's there's a good amount of fires to put out. I'll a lot of the time in the mornings that
Yeah.
has to be tied into that morning routine.
Do you have a nighttime routine?
Unfortunately, I think part of that routine is reading, which doesn't make sense because that's when I'm tired. I'll squeeze in some the reading of scripts that I need to have done for the next day. Because it's hard, when I'm in the office during the day, it's really routine on the morning side and the nighttime side is trying to squeeze in the reading of scripts for clients. Those are the only quiet times, early morning and then before bed. So a lot of reading.
Do you read? Are you a fast reader?
No, terribly slow reading. Terribly slow. It's just, ooh, yeah, if I wish I were, don't tend to read fast at all.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that. I've interviewed people about that. There's one guy I
Mm.
interviewed, he can read 1,000 words per minute and like remember everything. And I'm like,
Wow.
teach me that.
Yeah,
He
that's
said for
definitely not
him, it was the pictures. He reads and he sees in pictures.
yeah,
So he stops forgetting about the words. And that's kind of how is you kind of do that with like fiction, but with like nonfiction,
yeah.
Do you meditate?
I don't meditate. I do
No?
find, like I said, being on the beach to me is meditation.
Yeah.
Just being out, it's kind of a
Because you
Zen
seem very
state.
Zen-like, yeah, already. So that's
Yeah,
why I was like,
yeah. My
w-
my Zen level
yeah,
pretty solid. So I think if I were to actually meditate, I would probably do even more sleeping. I would fall into the sleep
yeah.
state.
To do this job, to do managing, to do all you're doing, you have to be, you have to have a head on your shoulders.
Super grounded. You have to.
Yeah,
You take a
yeah,
lot of blows, and it's like, okay, how are we going to handle this? How are we going to be sane through this? And I've had some pretty crazy clients over the years too. So it's like that seasons you very quick. Some
yeah,
people that have had a
yeah,
lot of rough things going on in their life.
yeah.
Yeah, that's once you realize certain things can happen and you'll rebound from them, a lot of other things don't phase you. So it's
Exactly.
a lot of
You gotta just kind of
hot water.
gotta be
Yeah.
positive. What are you reading right now?
Oh, what I'm reading primarily is just client
Scripts?
scripts, and doing
Scripts?
rewrites and things like that. So there's not really any, scripts, and lots of scripts. Not much else outside of that.
Yeah, yeah.
The reading,
No, I get
the
it.
reading, yeah, is
What do
usually
you
that's what I read.
what are you listening to right now?
I don't think I really listen to much at all. I mean, the
Really?
only time I get a chance, sometimes when I go for like a morning walk or something,
Mm.
I'll put on. You just never know. It could be classical music, or it could be Tupac, or it's just whatever pops up on my girlfriend's Spotify the fastest, and I just hit play. Because then I get
Yeah,
lost in it. I get lost in just about anything. I'm not real picky
yeah.
about my music.
What are you watching now?
Beef, beef. I thought that was fun. You
How
familiar
was
with
that?
that?
I know of it. I haven't seen it. That's on
That was
Netflix, right?
interesting. Yeah, I was a little skeptical at first, but then I got hooked and I enjoyed it. But that's, what I just started. I just started the morning show. Have you seen that?
Mm. No, but everyone's like bugging me to do that. That and the Handmaid's Tale. I'm just like,
Yeah, I haven't
oh
seen that
man.
either. I
I'm,
just,
I'm like every 2 seconds, it's like, oh, you gotta watch this. You gotta watch this. Like, there's not enough time to watch everything.
no, it's tough. It's tough. Morning shows has been fun. We've only seen a few episodes, but it really threw me because
Hmm.
I thought it was a comedy. I just thought for sure it was just a straight up half-hour comedy. But it's not a
Yeah,
comedy. It's not really a comedy. Like it's a
interesting.
drama, and
It's a
it's
drama
really
in the
well done,
news.
and it's fun to watch these characters. I think the performance.
Do you enjoy going to the movies, or do you get a chance
Yeah,
to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I love it. I tend to I would say 9 out of 10 times going is just going to see the most recent kids film because my daughter's
Ah,
but yeah, movies nowadays are it's fun to go in there and have that reclining chair and all that
I
fun,
know
food all
they've
over it.
they've made it into, yeah, that'll be the next thing. The chair will
Chair.
vibrate. I know
Yeah.
some theaters have made it. They put heaters in the seats, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
wow, you can just
Yeah, they had that. We
if the
were
world
just
if the world ends, you'll just be in this movie theater.
we set. We set and you survive. We were just at the AMC in St. Petersburg, Florida, and they had heated seats. I hadn't seen that
Yeah,
before. Yeah, that's
yeah, I
crazy.
think that might be where I saw it too. It was in Florida when I
Wow.
saw the heated seats, and I was like, wow, heated seats.
Wow.
This is
Where'd you
is
go?
there another button to like put a I think it was back in Fort Lauderdale. Is there like a button to, bring hot cocoa and
Yeah, you just
a
put it on
blanket,
the app. You go on the app and they deliver it. They'll bring
a
you a glass
blanket
of water.
and yeah. I always love talking to Starbucks employees because they'll tell me that, like, there'll be somebody that like lives down the street and they'll have it delivered to them, and it's like, wow. It's like
Yeah,
you can't even get up to get your own coffee now. You
right.
just you
Exactly.
just be in your house and you be there. It's
Can't be too
hilarious.
careful. You can't be too careful.
No. Well, now with COVID and stuff, we have like no idea. It's so weird. Anyways, thank you so much for doing this. I
For
appreciate
sure.
this.
No, it's fun. Fun. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's always good. You never know. A little piece of some information can always impact someone in a positive way. So I always love
Absolutely.
talking about stuff and things I've gone through because you just never know. You just never know. So I
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, that about does it for part 2 of my interview with Robert Enriquez. I want to thank him for his time. Please like, share, and subscribe, and consider checking out the YouTube channel. As always, you can find me at Justin Yachts, and I will see you next time on the DMF.